Marina, I just want to say thank you for what you're doing. And honestly, just shout out to you because what you are doing, you are using your platform to bring Jesus to all places in the world. I look like Natasha, her sister. You're actually you're using your platform and you are preaching Jesus. You're hosting these lives. Truly been blessed from the last two, and I know
Yes.
one of them was my sister. However, it's so refreshing and satisfying for the soul to hear women and men of God to rise up and take stand and to be passionate about Jesus and to love on others. And here you are, hosting and giving this platform. And I will tell you this, that the fruit is evident. I know that not everyone will repost or say something or comment or or write to you or thank you, but that's okay. You don't need a pat on the shoulder.
Exactly.
The fruit is evident. The fruit is evident. People are hearing about Jesus. People are hearing testimonies. People receiving. Personally, I've been taking notes on all of the lives that the two that you've been taking. I've been taking notes. I've been writing things down. I've been learning. I've been receiving, and it was an amazing time. And I believe that we're all Christians, no matter what you do. If you're a preacher or you're a stay-home mom, you have to be teachable.
Yes.
You must.
Amen.
So thank you for what you are doing, and I'm just honored to be here, and just to share my testimony, to share my life, and to share what Jesus is doing back then and now.
Amen.
So,
well, I want to, before you go ahead, I want to thank you, and I probably thank you already all the time. But for those who don't know, I guess you can call, I feel like you mentor me a lot, although I never asked you, can you be my mentor? But I just feel like any questions, and I'm like, I give you probably a lot of questions.
yes.
But you've been amazing and always answering. And I don't know, honestly, I don't know how you do it. You're all over the place. And I've always told you this before. You're all over the place and you make it look so easy. You make it look like it's just part of who you are. It just comes easy. And I know it's not always easy, but when you put God first, he just makes everything flow. He makes everything kind of like, papuolachkam. Everything just kind of goes smoothly and it doesn't come like a burden to you. It comes easy. And I know you're going to talk about a little bit your ministry, and we actually have a couple questions that are going to be kind of in that same subject, how you do it all.
Okay.
So anyways, thank you. And I love what you do. And I know that you bless so many people, honestly. And one day, I know you're going to come and minister to my group and God will make it happen. So tell us a little bit about your family, your life, and then you can kind of go on into your testimony.
Gosh, I don't even know where to begin, but one thing that I want to say that I've been in ministry ever since I was saved. And those who do not know, I come from a non-Christian family. And grew up in a broken home. My mom was married 3 times, and I was growing up without dad. And that just took a toll on my life, growing up and in my childhood and in my teen years. And that was heartache. I believe that those who grew up in a broken home, those who grew up with one parent or no parents, they will be able to understand where I'm coming from. So, and I do appreciate Christian homes for now.
Yeah.
My mom have received Jesus at one of the Bonky Crusades.
Wow.
So what happened was
she actually went to one?
Yes. So but I will tell you how she went to one. Her Christian friend at the time, she had one Christian friend what she had did, she says, Vala, you know, I want to invite you to this event that is happening in the city. It's huge. There's going to be many people, and come. So my mom did. And she said she heard, you know, just a simple message about the cross. And she said, I don't know what happened, but I was just drawn to the front. Something came over me. I was just, you know, thrown into this holy, you know, atmosphere. And she says, I was saved and I gave my life to Jesus. So,
Wow.
and I want to a little bit stop at this because I believe we are that one Christian friend.
Yeah.
And we are that one Christian friend that is able to bring somebody to Jesus, you know, that is able to, and, you know, like doing it now. I'm sure there's so many non-Christian followers that follow you, and just doing this, we'll be able to bring Jesus to them. And then our job is just to bring them to him, and the Holy Spirit will do the rest.
Amen.
So by just, by her giving her life to Jesus and saying, yes, Lord, our family destination and the course of our family have been changed forever. And I am so blessed by that. I met my husband at a very young age, got married, got thrown into this mess, came with my burdens, with my problems.
Saved?
Not yet.
Oh, wow. But he was.
He grew up in a Christian home, but he stepped away from the Lord.
Okay.
So it was just like two broken people suffering. And to make sure a story short, I decided to file for divorce.
Wow.
And I know that not many people know that. And for me, it's about time that I'm begin to share this, because I see divorce all over Christian homes, and you know, in church and all over the place. And I want to talk about it. This is a serious matter. So what happened at that time, my sister and her husband began to pray for us. And they began to pray for our marriage. They began to pray for my heart. And at that moment of my life, I was sick. I was very, very sick. I had a lump in my breast, and then they had to remove that lump. And I had endometriosis, which is a sickness for all the, you know, women's organs, that they're being basically eaten and they disappear. And when they did a surgery on me, they said, I'm sorry, Tanya. I think that was something traumatic for me, because when I woke up from the surgery, the surgeon was standing by me with a piece of paper and saying, Tanya, I'm sorry, but you are not able to have children, because I am not able to perform a surgery, because it's so close to all the organs that I will be destroying them. And he says, Tanya, there is no way. There is no possible way or explanation for me to explain to you that you are not able to conceive, that you're not able to bear a child.
Yeah.
And I remember I was in such a broken place, and dealing with my husband and with his addiction and my pains and my situations, and my father, my biological father, he was an alcoholic. And I remember the pain that my mom was going through. So I would not want to have a husband that was drinking. And for me, that was happening at the time. And I said, then that, you know, I'm just going to end this marriage. This is not going well. So make the story short, Natasha and her husband began to pray for us. And Natasha was pregnant at the time. She was pregnant with her son, Jacob. And I believe she was like 7 months. I'm not sure. But I was so excited for that child. I said, I will be the best aunt that there is. I began to
Yeah.
buy things for the baby. I just talked about him all the time. She came to my radiology appointment because I worked at radiology, and she came to the appointment, and I was there, at the ultrasound, and I was just, translating and looking at the baby and just so excited. And I had a little picture of the baby inside her tummy. I was in the moon. I was just so excited that this baby is coming in our life. And I'm thinking that this baby will change everything. So what happens is my sister's child dies inside her stomach. And I cannot explain to you the pain that I was going through, the suffering, I felt like everything is breaking in the midst of it all, in the midst of
Wow.
me being sick, going through this divorce with my husband, moving in with my mom, and just such a chaotic situation. I was in so much pain and so much chaos, and I could honestly feel the world, the people that don't know Jesus, people that do not know Jesus, they are in despair. They are suffering. There is no hope. So to me, it was like, there is no hope. That's it. Everything is crashing down. And
Wow.
I could still feel what I was feeling. That is why I'm so emotional, because it hurts. It's just, there is no way out. And of course, now I know that there is a way, and the way is Jesus.
Yes.
Right now, I know that. But back in the day, I didn't know that. So of course I went to through the whole scenario of her giving birth to her child, and she gave me the little footprints. She gave me those footprints of the baby for
Wow.
me to keep, and it just broke me. I'm like, why is she doing this? It's already painful as it is, and I can't talk about. And so that pushed me to begin to talk to God right there. I think this was a first step, because what happens is God talks to us through the depths of our heart. He knows my heart. He knows
Was it,
that
sorry, I'm gonna interrupt. Was it, I think Natasha mentioned last time that that you were really, really like, what was drawing you in was the fact that like how she took that situation in, and how she was still strong and still praising Jesus, and like that strength was coming from somewhere, and you wanted to know how and why.
yes, it was very upsetting. I felt like a mess. I felt like it's my child who died, and she is so calm. She's so peaceful. She
Wow.
says God spoke to us, and this child is for the mission. And people that will hear this testimony will go in the ends of the world, and they will serve Jesus. And like, what are you talking about? He's dead, And I was just such a mess. I literally could not understand what she's talking about. The peace, I think the peace in her that was really breaking me into pieces. The peace, the understanding of much more, the understanding of heaven, the trusting God, believing in Him. And I think that was really crushing me. That was really crushing me. And I remember one evening, Natasha and Andre came.
Guys, it didn't save again. I don't understand. Somebody needs to tell me how to do it. Usually when I click out end live, on the little top there's like a little thingy where it says save live, and before I've done it, I don't understand why it's not letting me do it. I don't know if it's too long, that's why. Because I literally tried the other day, I did like a 5-second thing and it showed up, and now it's not showing up, so I don't know why. If anybody has ideas, let me know, because screen recording takes so much time, and like people end up calling, and it's just a mess. Hey Tan. You're back. So request to go live with me again, please. There you are. Perfect. All right. You're back. All right, jump in right where you were at with
yes.
Mexico.
So let's go from that. So he have shown, like, I really understood that this is a vision and this is the next step, because I think when you turn to Jesus and you begin to seek him and to know what it is that he wants from you, he will sure reveal it to you. He's not going to just leave you guessing or thinking, like, or waiting on something. You got to move for the door to open in front of you. You got to move. You got to do something. So I said, fine, Lord, I will do what you want us to do. We will go. We don't know what it is, waits for us. And I understand that you are equipping us for the assignment that you have for us, that you're giving us that assignment, but you will sure equip us. You will sure anoint us. You will sure bless us, because you know better. We might think that we're not qualified. We might think that we don't know the Bible the right way. We might think that we're not the best preachers. We might think that we don't know how to carry ourselves. We might think that we don't know how to lay hands on people and pray for them. But you know, because you're giving us that assignment. And I believe that everyone anointed for the specific assignment that God has for them. Amen. So, and then what happened was, I said, okay, God, you just revealed that to me, and I will say, yes, Lord, I will go and I will do, but would you be able to reveal it to my husband as well? So it's not just me saying, hey, God is telling us to go to, Mexico and to serve, and would you be able to do that? And God says, yes. And I'm walking out from that prayer room that just on fire for Jesus. I am ready. And I remember, because Natasha and Andre, they lived with us. We lived like a whole big family, happy family. And I remember I shared it with my sister, and I said, Natasha, God just revealed that we will become he's sending us somewhere, and we will be serving him, but he's gonna reveal it to my husband himself. So, wow, really? You're not gonna tell your husband? You're not gonna share with him? And I said, I'm sorry, but this is a deal. This is the deal with God. He will do it himself. Wow. And my husband was in the sauna. My husband loves to go with his friends to sauna with his team, and they just, it's a man's time. It's so refreshing. It's good for your body and good for your soul. It's a man time. So he comes home, and it was around 12-ish. And he walks around the room, and he says, Tanya, sit down. I really, really got to talk to you. And the first thing to me, I'm like, what did you do? What did you do? Because we're just like freshly coming to Jesus. Yeah. And we're like new Christians. We're still struggling with our old ways and like trying to get rid of ourselves and, more of Jesus, less of us, and learning as we go, because there is really no teachers and no mentors. And I'm like, what did you do? And he's like, please sit down. And I sit down, and he says, Tanya, Jesus is sending us to Mexico.
Wow.
And literally, this is just few hours, and I'm like, hallelujah. I can't believe that God is so fast and in answering, that he did not wait. He did not wait another day. This was an urgency. And he is sending us together. Within 2 weeks, we gathered the team of passionate people that on fire for Jesus, same like us, don't know what they're doing, just willing and obedient to God, and saying, yes, Lord, here we are. And we gathered present, and we crossed Mexico, and we didn't know where we're going. We didn't have no special arrangements. There was a white van standing on the hill, and the man that came out of the van, it looks like it was broken because the blinkers were on. And we came out and he says, are you missionaries? And we said, I guess so, yeah. He says, God told me you will gas up my car and I will take you to my village and you will preach Jesus. This
Wow.
is what we did. We
Come on.
gassed his car. He took us to the village. We preached Jesus. People came to the Lord, received God. And this was our first evangelical gospel
Wow.
campaign.
Hallelujah.
So that began from that moment on. We've been preaching,
How long has it
nonstop
been?
preaching. I'm sorry?
How long has it been that you guys been going to Mexico?
16 years, 15
Wow.
years, 15.
I really hope this year me and Sophie make it.
Girl, this year is the year.
This is
You
the
and
year.
your in your family. I
Hallelujah. Yes. Last time we were all ready to go, and
the caravan, the
yeah.
caravan came, and yeah, that was closed. But you know, I believe that when Jesus is discipling you, when you become the disciple of Jesus, you don't know any other way but just to raise up the disciples around you, because you want them to know the truth. And if you're raising up disciples around you, and they will raise up the disciples, and that's how, you know, that's how revival happens.
Yeah.
It's just, it's like a fire, just like a fire. It's like a chain reaction. And this what was happening for 3 years straight. Every month, sometimes couple of times a month, we took van, we packed with youth, we packed them with a bunch of people who were just wanted to seek Jesus, who just wanted to pray for people. We packed them, we brought children, we crossed the, you know, the to Mexico, and we just preached all over, from one city, from one village to another, and we just began to preach to people. We just began to pray for sick people, began to receive Jesus, people began to get healed, delivered all over, and just something began to happen in that nation and in our hearts. And we've done everything that we can, from building homes, from restoring churches, from just going to the city dumps and preaching to people, rescuing children. You know, just something began to happen, just like Jesus all over the place. You cannot be the same when you have Jesus. You just love on people. We begin to understand that we are called to outreach. Just go after something, just reach out, just populate heaven. You know, I remember one time God told me, Jesus is just so amazing, and the things that he says and the assignments that he says sometimes don't make sense. I think of Noah and I'm like, Lord, have mercy. You know, he looked like a fool.
Yeah.
He literally looked like a fool. Why in the world would you build a boat when there is no rain? Guys, have you ever thought about it? But he was so faithful, and he was building, you know. So Jesus said one time, we went to this little village up on the hills, and it's called Jaramillo. And we were ministering to people, and there was a lot of people who are sick, and a lot of people who are needy, and a lot of people who they're like immigrants, they're like runaways, they're like migrants. They're coming from different places seeking better life. And we found this family that kind of looked like different, and we realized that they're like descendants of Mayans, and like they were shorter, they looked different than all other people that we were ministering to. And we found them in this little shack, and like there was this hole where they would hide when it's cold, and we brought blankets and we told them about Jesus. And we saw that in the corner of their like little shack there was like idols, and there was candles burning, and they were praying to something or whatever. And we were just giving them food, but we were just so sad. And I said, God, right then and there, I'm like, said, Jesus, I mean, we're gonna give them blankets, we're gonna give them food, but it's gonna all run out, and it looks like they're outcast here. It looks like nobody really wants them because they don't look the same, they can't find job, and you know that one of the children died because they were sick, and none of the people in the village wanted to help them out, and the husband, he had a broken leg, and it's just miserable situation. And I said, Jesus, what can I do? Jesus, what can we do? And this is what God says: build them a home.
Wow.
Okay, that's fine, let's build them a home. So I'm driving on the way to, we all driving. There's a bunch of us in, we're driving in a van back to Sacramento, and it's a long road from Jaramillo to Tijuana. It's about 3.5 hours. And then from Tijuana to Sacramento, it's about 9-10 hours, depending on how many pit stops we will take. And and so that whole road, I am sowing a seed. We got to build a home. God says build a home. And everybody's like, well, we are young. We don't have, the jobs that we have. We will never cover that. Well, we'll find finances. Where are we going to find supplies? How can we even take the supplies up on that hill? Who knows where there is no road? How can we even do that? And there's just so many whys. How? I don't know. I'm like, guys, I'm in the same boat as you. I have no clue how, but God says do it. That means He already knows that we're capable of doing it. You know what? And yes, and I'm so thankful for my husband, because he's such an amazing man. He might be a man of few words at those situations, because he knows I'm all over the place. I'm like, let's do this. God will provide. He will make a way. By faith, we will be able to do it. And he's more realistic, but then he will keep quiet, but then he will pray about it. And then he says, you know what? Let's do that. And from me, if I get a green light from my husband, that's everything. That's a game changer right there, So we testified in church. All of a sudden, people came together. Like, these people just all of a sudden say, hey, I'm a builder. Hey, I'm a painter. Hey, I have connection in Costco. Hey, this and this and this. I'm telling you, for our next trip, what we did, we gathered up a group. But listen, this is what we did. Before we left, we said to them, we will build you a home, but this hill, it has to become straight. You have to make this hill straight. For the entire month, this man who had a broken leg with a shovel was making this hill straight. I don't know if you could imagine that, but when we came there, the entire family was waiting for us. They were waiting for us. They just believed us, because they just believed, these crazy Christians, that they said we will build a home. Can you please make this hill straight? And they just lowered the entire hill. And to us, it was so amazing that that for some reason they believed us. And how can we not believe Jesus that tell us things? How can we not believe Jesus when He says things to us and into our life? We must do the same. We must go by faith. We don't know, we don't see, but we believe Him. And this is how much this man believed us. And we were building a home, and all of a sudden, I believe it was Home Depot, but they heard about this love gift that we're doing for this family, and they said, you know what, we will come and we will find a way to bring our truck with the supplies up on that hill, and we will help you. And this, all of a sudden, we just see this truck, this huge commercial truck is coming with just supplies, and they're just driving and making that way up on the hill. And you know what, we're all shouting and screaming. And this is 15 years ago. This is a bunch of youngsters, bunch of young people on fire for Jesus, and they just want to do the Jesus thing. They just want to reach out to the world, and they just want to tell Him that, tell the world that Jesus saves, and He lives, and He lives inside of us. And we built the home. We built this duplex home. We didn't know how, but we just did was what we know. There was windows, and there were closing, and there was doors, and there was a roof, and it was beautiful. And we let these people to pick the color of the building, and of course they picked blue because it just represents the sky. And we built the beds. We built everything from the scratch. We went out with the girls to the little market, and we bought the curtains, and we sewed the curtains and put everything together. We were doing it as we're doing it for ourselves, as we would do for ourselves. We had this girl who knew how to draw. She made beautiful paintings on the walls for the kids, and we put mirrors for the ladies to see themselves. And I remember that woman of the house, she came to the mirror and she just looked at herself and she began to cry. And you know, she got like right away, for all of a sudden she got this like rag, and she began to wipe her face, and she began to brush her hair. She began to look at herself, and we just came and hugged her, and we said, you're beautiful daughter of God. And she came to the windows and she began to open them, and she said that the windows open and close, and she has doors into her home. But because before she didn't have that, it was just a shack. She didn't have everything. She didn't have anything. Now she has bunk beds, and she has mattresses, and she has food, and she has kitchen. She has all those things. And then this was such a beautiful, beautiful moment. She began to feed us. I have no idea where she was cooking her food, but it was so good. I know she didn't have anything. She was cooking us food, and we were eating, and we had this fellowship, and we would get together and we'd sing about Jesus, and we would tell them everything, and we would tell them everything that we know. And then it was time for us to leave. And the father of the home, he gathered the entire household, and he said, why?
Wow.
Why did you do this for us? The village and our own people turned their hearts, their homes, their backs away from us.
Wow.
But you, strangers,
Yeah.
that you don't even know us, you open your heart, and you went to the extent, you just sacrificed your time, your family time, and just your finances. Why did you do that? And we said, we did this because Jesus loves you. That's all we said. He took off his hat. He called all his children, the wife, and everybody. And he says, then we want to give our lives to Jesus.
So good.
We want to give our life to Jesus. Right then and there, they wanted to serve Jesus, who loves them. They wanted to serve Jesus, the one who lives in us. They bowed down their heads. We have a photo still. We have a photo where he took out his hat, and all the kids came, and all the kids just rounded him, and they all bowed their heads, and they were praying a prayer of salvation. Guys, do not underestimate what Jesus is doing. If he's telling you, go build a home, go build a home. If he's telling you, go bring some warm food to your neighbor, go do that, because you're not doing this just because out of the good heart. You're doing this for sowing a seed, sowing a seed and winning souls. This is what it's all about. It's about souls.
Yes.
So, and we left. 5 years later, we wanted to know how our family is doing.
Wow.
We wanted to know what's happening. I'm like, let's make our way back into Jaramillo. We want to know what's going on. And already then we moved out from Mexico, and we moved to Nicaragua and Honduras, and God began to open other doors. And you know what? Because we were moving, so God's like, okay, the new doors are opening. The new doors are opening. Sometimes we're waiting for the door to be open, but we gotta move, you know, for the doors to be open. So, but I said, please, can we just go and see them? Because I'm just curious. I just want to know if the house is still even there. Do they even live there, you know?
Wow.
So we packed the van, and we're going to Jaramillo. And guys, I just kid you not, I just can't believe it. For some reason, we just started seeing people coming down from the mountains and then greeting us, and they just, but we don't know them. They don't look like the people that we know. But I will tell you, this is what Jesus does. This was the family that we were serving before. This was the family that we built for them before. But they were completely transformed. Wow. They looked groomed. They were normal. The kids were dressed. They were different. Their appearance was different. Wow. And they said, you don't even know what happened. We want to tell you what happened. And I said, okay, please. And we don't know what's happening. We're just so excited. The house is still there, and there's flowers blooming, you know, around the house, and it's there, and it's like, oh my goodness, all this excitement is happening. They say that we ministering in a local church here. Wow. And we have evangelized the entire village. Praise
God.
To me, to me, that was something that was the lowest of the lows, the people that were not accepted in the community. But once they found out the truth, once they found out about Jesus, they said, we're going to be the ones who tell them the
Yes.
truth. We will be the ones who will go from home to home and evangelize each little house, each little soul. We will minister to widows. We will minister to orphans. And they began to go as a family and minister to people around. And they began to outreach, and they begin to reach out and love on people out of their need, because they desperately needed love. And their church began to grow.
Wow.
So girls, guys, men, women, don't underestimate Jesus. The gospel is so simple, and the most strongest message of the gospel is a love message. It's a love message. It's about the cross. It's about the love of Jesus. It's about what God has